Hello YouTube fans, thanks for watching Bigfoot Barbecue. Today we are going to try and do a dry aged steak. You see this bag right here? This is a special bag that you use just for dry aging. So now you need to get yourself a nice piece of meat. Let it be a big roast or a small roast like we have here. This is basically a rib roast, which if you cut the rib off, then it's a ribeye roast, or steak if you cut it into steaks. So we're going to leave it as a roast, and then we will cut it as a steak after. So you see me putting the roast in a bag. You want to make sure that the bag does not get wet where you're about to seal it. As you can see, I'm about to seal the bag right here. This bag is a Dry Aged bag. It's the company who makes it. You can follow their link below. Now we're just using normal food saver or vac pack machine, and those two yellow things sticking out of the bag are just so that the air can escape. This particular food saver has a separate sealer on the bottom, so we sealed it 3 separate times. Now we're just going to let it sit for about 15 minutes just to make sure that the bag is still sealed and that no air escapes or gets in. Alright, so we're going to get to the fridge now. This is just a regular mini fridge. We are going to have it set around the 3 to 5 degrees mark, and you want to put the steak or the roast on a rack so that the air can get underneath it and over top of it. Wow, we're going to leave this sit here for about 28 days, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit longer. One of the key things is that you do not want to put it in a fridge where the temperature will vary a lot. You want it to stay at the same temperature all the time, and you don't want the fridge door to be open and closed 100 times. Now, we don't use this fridge too much. Alright, so now I'm going to be showing you a few pictures of what the steak looks like from time to time. I do not have the exact dates on here, but it's usually about 1 picture a week. Sometimes I took a couple pictures in 1 week. You can tell that it starts to get a little bit dark and the red starts to get deeper, and what's happening right now is all of the moisture is escaping and it's getting hard. This is the last day. This is what it looked like. So here we are about to cut the bag open. Alright, so get yourself a nice knife and we're going to cut the bag open and we will remove the roast. Now the roast, because it was a smaller roast, it is dried up a lot. We probably could have left it in for about 3 weeks and that would have been fine. I left it a little bit longer than 4 weeks, I think. There's no smell to the roast. Not bad anyway. It smells like a normal piece of meat. What you can do now is we need to take the bone off, and then we need to take all of the excess, what they call is pellicose, which is all the dry aged pieces on the outside. Now you can keep all of this. It's just not appetizing to eat on the steak itself. It's a little bit hard. So what I usually do is we will take this, put it in the freezer until we decide to make ground beef from the rest of the trimmings that I get throughout the year of basically steak and so on. So now we're just taking off all of the excess hardness on the outside, and we will chop this up and make it one nice big steak. Again, we're going to use this to grind some hamburger. This is the pan that we're going to use on the barbecue. This is the way I like to do some of the steaks, and it's got a heavy lid to keep it nice and flat. So what we're going to do is put some butter and some avocado oil in the pan, get it to temperature, and then we will lay some herbs and spices on top of the actual steak, rosemary and thyme, and some sage. So what I did here is I'm going to salt it and put some pepper on it. I'm going to put some salt on the board, and then I'm going to rub it into the sides of the steak. The steak is about an inch and a half. On the plate there, I have all of the butter, some garlic spread, and I have the sage, the thyme, and the rosemary. Alright, so we have the pan on my Napoleon barbecue. We got it all hot, and we have the oil in it, and we're just going to put the steak on. So we just laid the steak in the pan. We're going to put the butter, excess butter, and the rosemary, thyme, and sage on the top. Last but not least, we will be taking the lid, and we will put the lid on top of the steak so that it keeps the bottom of the steak nice and flat so that it can sear off nice and golden. The steak has been on the barbecue now for about 7 to 8 minutes. We're going to check it now and probably flip it. Just be careful if you're using a cast iron lid and pan, the cast iron will get really hot, so you need to be a little bit careful. We're gonna just try and take the sage, rosemary, and all the spices off the top, put it to the side, so that when we flip this, we can put that stuff back on the top. It does make a huge difference, guys and girls. Please try it. Now the butter is in there, and it's not burning because we have the avocado oil in there as well. That is a key thing. Do not just put avocado oil, or don't put just butter. Alright, so this is a beautiful look at the steak right here with the bubbling juices. We are going to take the steak out of the pan, and we're going to put it on a cutting board or on a rack so that it can cool down. Now that's all that's left of the herbs. And as you can see here, we seared it off very well. That ends up being crusty and crunchy, which is very good. All of the fat has rendered down, and this will be a beautiful steak to eat. Let's just leave it here now so that it will rest. Now we are gonna slice it. Now I took the steak off at 140 degrees Fahrenheit. It will be a little bit pink in the middle, but it is perfectly fine. This is the way I like my steak. After you are done cooking it at 135 to 145 degrees, it will continue cooking a little bit longer. That's part of the resting period, but notice how not all of the juices are pouring out of it. This is what you want. You want the juices to stay inside the meat. Let me tell you, this is the best steak I have probably ever had in my entire life. It's actually cooked perfectly, just a little bit pink in the center, and the outside is nice and crispy. The beefy flavor is like nothing I've ever tasted before. Dry aged steak is the way to go. If you want to try it, you can order them online and see for yourself. In conclusion, this is one of the best steaks I've ever had, and it definitely was worth all the time and effort it took to make it perfect. Thanks everybody for watching my channel. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to click on the notification bell so that you can get updated on all the videos that are posted weekly. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.